Alright, first of all, a huge thank you to all of my YouTube members and Twitch supporters. And second of all, I hope everyone's been doing their homework. If you haven't yet, go check out my Janthir Wilds crafting guide, because there are a lot of new materials we need to keep in mind for these weekly installments. But before we get to those, let's first take a look at some of our mainstays. Not much change for Ectos compared to last week, which had dropped down to more sustainable prices since the Festival of the Four Winds ended. This had a knock-on effect on blue and yellow unidentified gear, which both fell from their yearly highs. Green units are a bit of a different case, however, as they have been going back up to festival levels. Green units tend to act a bit different in general, as people with an Endless Upgrade Extractor can basically make infinite gold with these, granted that they're willing to break the TOS and use macros. It is worth noting that you're technically better off selling greens on the trading post unless you use said Upgrade Extractor or own a Runecrafter Salvage-o-matic. You'll still make a profit with the other kits, but it'll be a fair bit lower. If you're the lucky owner of either, you should also be getting a consistent flow of charms and symbols, of which some have seen an increase since the end of the festival. Alternatively, you could field a couple of buy orders for runes and sigils and directly salvage those, but just know that this would be a numbers game, as you only have about a 2 to 10% chance of getting these from salvaging upgrades depending on the quality of said upgrade. As per usual, go check out the guide in the pinned comment if you want a more in-depth explanation or the spreadsheet on the family Discord. And while we're on the topic of extracting, it's also worth mentioning that superior Sigils of Force sell for more than some of the weapons containing this upgrade. So if you have an Endless Upgrade Extractor or some Black Lion Salvage kits lying around, which you can get from the Wizard's Vault, you could put those to good use. There is another spreadsheet on the family Discord that will show you every exotic you can do this with, as the Sigil of Force is definitely not the only worth considering. To put this into more real numbers, every Black Lion Salvage kit is worth more than 2.3 gold, which makes it a better purchase than the heavy crafting bags from the Wizard's Vault. Tier 5 material upgrades are also once again at more attractive levels, with the good news being that the most profitable ones are some of the easiest to farm. Don't discount some of the lower tier materials either though. Tier 2 bones have been some of the most profitable to upgrade for over a year now as well. But if you're talking about purchasing items to upgrade, then you obviously want to stick to the most profitable ones. This week is also one of the better ones to go and redeem your packed scout mapping materials. While the value might not look that much different to the other weeks, it usually tends to pick back up once this week's redemptions roll over. Homesteads also found a new use for slivers, shards and fragments, but as things stand, you only want to upgrade cores to lodestones. I will keep checking these on a weekly basis, as well as any of the other handiworkers ingredients. And speaking about these, farming jungle plants hasn't been the highest gold per hour activity for a while now, but it is a repeatable farm that resets every hour and people are paying a good bit extra for jungle grass seeds, which is one of its rare drops. In that same vein, Homesteads also shook up the price of giant mushroom spores, which come from sawgill mushrooms, and palm lumber cores, which come from palm and ancient saplings, as well as noxious pods. Dragonstand actually has a route for both mussels and jungle plants, which also has you run past some noxious pods without the meta even needing to be active. And while we're on the topic of gathering, the Janthir Wilds materials have become a good bit cheaper since launch. While honeyflowers have seen the most significant drop, there's still a rather attractive farm in my opinion. If you combine a Glyph of Bounty with the item booster, you'll get anywhere from 2 to 5 flowers per node. Lowland pine logs are maintaining their price much better, as there are far fewer opportunities to gather these in the lowland shore. And the same goes for Rotted Titan Amber, which again is harder to come by, while Charged Titan Ore has lost a good 20% of its value. The only item we can gather that has no direct output yet are the Mursaat Runestones, which were going for over a gold each at launch and now seem to have settled around 70 silver. Despite this, they're still one of my favorite things to gather daily. All you have to do is run around both new maps and spam your Warclaw Sniff skill to unearth caches, which also gives you an opportunity to gather all of the aforementioned materials and earn a good chunk more. Initially, I was convinced their drop rate was bugged, as almost every minor and lesser cache contains one. But if that was the case, I think it'd be fixed already. My plan is to continue gathering these every single day and hang on to them for when the next update hits the servers. If they only go back up to around 1 gold, that'd still be a 42% price increase. And if you check the trading post, there's actually a relatively small supply of them if you think about it. The new legendaries will most likely require either 100 or a full stack of these. That is only enough for 23 to 57 legendaries, depending on how many will be required. So a price increase once the new content is live doesn't seem out of the ordinary to me. When we take a look at the other weapon skins, it is worth considering unlocking the Vinelord Edgebloom set. You can't instantly buy the set and sell vintage blackline weapon boxes if you want a net neutral operation, but you would come awfully close if you're choosing the void corrupted weapons with your tickets instead. This doesn't include the TP taxes yet though, so the best approach for now is putting in buy orders for all of the Vinelord weapons, and once a sufficient amount gets filled, instantly buy the rest so that you can sell either the vintage boxes or a selection of void corrupted weapons to recoup your gold. If you're missing any of the other cheaper sets, by the way, the void corrupted weapons should make unlocking them as cheap as possible rather easy as well. Anyway, that'll be it for now. As per usual, a huge thank you to the YouTube members and people who are supporting me over on Twitch. I had a bit of a health setback, but I should be back to streaming in the next few days, so I hope to see you there.